Welcome back to my class, students. We were discussing the literary devices used in this poem, and we have discussed rhyme scheme, personification, oxymoron, alliteration, and now we have reached a metaphor. What is metaphor? Metaphor, as you can see in this picture, the definition is given: compares two things by saying that one is something else, and we usually uses the words is, are, was, or were. Students, metaphor, in other words, we can say that metaphor, it is the figure of speech that is used to make a comparison between two things that are not alike but do have something in common. And in this, we don't use like or as to compare two things. There is a difference between a metaphor and a simile, very basic difference. In simile, students, if we are comparing two things, we use like and as. Either we use like or as to compare two things, and when we use like or as to compare two things, it becomes a simile. But in metaphor, we don't use the word like और as. हम like और as का यूज़ नहीं करते हैं दो चीज़ों को कंपेयर करने के लिए मेटाफर में, बट सिमिली में हम like और as का यूज़ करते हैं दो चीज़ों को कंपेयर करने के लिए. दैट इज़ द बेसिक डिफरेंस इन मेटाफर, बिटवीन मेटाफर एंड simile. So I hope you will keep in mind what is the difference between metaphor and simile when it comes to use. In simile, we use the words like or as to compare two things, and in metaphor we don't use the words like or as to compare two things. We use is, are, was, or were to compare two things. Like in the example, my life is a movie. So here we have used is to compare life and movie, which are two different things. We have not used like or as. We have not written this sentence like my life is like a movie. If we have used like, it will become simile, but here we have used my life is a movie. We have used is to compare life and movie, so this is a metaphor. So students, now moving on to the next literary device used in this poem, and that is repetition. Student, repetition, as you can see, repeating words, lines and phrases over again to stress the importance of the idea. Repetition, in other words, we can say it is the repetition of the words to create attention to an idea or belief. And for example, first we will see the example which is given in this picture. Spring is flowers, spring is green grass, spring is rainy days. So spring, you can see here the repetition of the word spring is being mentioned, and it is to mention about, to put stress on the importance of the idea of the spring season. They want to create attention about the spring season. And in the poem, the example of alliteration, example of repetition is given: velvet quiet and quiet rays. In stanza 1, if you will notice, students, this example is given, velvet quiet and quiet rays. It is the example of repetition, because here quiet has been the word quiet has been repeated. Why the poet has repeated this word quiet? To emphasize the silence in the zoo against the noise in the forest. So he has used this word. So this is what repetition is, and I hope now you have no doubt about the literary devices used in this poem. We have discussed all the literary devices used in this poem, and now student, it's time to discuss about the question answers of the poem. Now let's moving on to the discussing of question answers, the textbook questions which are given thinking about the poem. Now let's see. Read the poem again and work in pairs or groups to do the following. The first is, find the words that describe the movements and actions of the tiger in the cage and in the wild. Arrange them in 2 columns. So students, the phrases or the words can be like stalks in his wife's tribes, quiet rays, ignoring visitors, locked in a concrete cell, stalking the length of his cage, stares with his brilliant eyes, suggests the movements and actions of the tiger in the cage. As you can see the poem, see, the first stanza describes about when the tiger is in the cage. Second is talking about when he should be in the wild or he should be in the forest. Third also is when he should be in the forest. Fourth is when he is in the zoo in cage. Fifth also same. So the first, third, fifth, fourth and fifth stanza will tell you about the movements of the tiger in the cage, and the second and third stanza will tell you about the movements or the movements and actions of the tiger when he is in the wild, like lurking in the shadows, sliding through long grass, snarling around. He should be lurking in shadows, sliding through the grass. He should be snarling around houses, and at jungle's edge, bearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. These all are the phrases or the words which describes or the movements and actions of the tiger when he is in the jungle or he is in the wild. Now the second question says, find the words that describes the 2 places and arrange them in columns. So student, the answer you will find in, I have told you, the first, fourth and fifth stanza will tell you about the movements of the tiger when he is in the cage, and the second and third stanza tells us about the movements and actions of the tiger in when he is in wild or when he is in jungle or forest. So find the answers from these stanzas and you will find the answers. Now let's see the second question. What does it say? Notice the use of a word repeated in lines such as these: on pads of velvet quiet, in his quiet rays, and stares with his brilliant. Second one is, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Question is, what do you think is the effect of this repetition? Here, velvet quiet, quiet rays, brilliant eyes, brilliant stars. So quiet is reused again in the first part of second question. Second part of second question is with his brilliant eyes and with brilliant stars. So brilliant word is repeated. So what do you think is the effect of this repetition? Repetition of the word quiet put the stress on the silence or the quietness that pervades the tiger's cage. This silence is not disturbed even by the footsteps of the tiger, as he has padded paws soft like velvet, which produce no sound. And above all, the tiger does not roar in anger because he has suppressed his natural self in the unnatural confines of the cage. Means the tiger is angry. He is really very angry because he is missing his wild life in jungle, but that emotions, that rage, anger, violent anger is controlled by the all his strengths, all his anger he has suppressed, उसने दबा दिया है और चुपचाप केज में वो इधर से उधर टहलता है, शांति को प्रतीक करता है. And so instead of roaring off to threaten people as he would do in the forest, he keeps quiet. If he is free, if you let him set free in the jungle, he roars. But when you go in the zoo, people wait that tiger will roar, but tiger ignores the visiting of the people. He is angry, but he has adjusted his life in the cage and he does not roar very often. Rarely people listen the roar of a tiger in the zoo, but if you go in the jungle, you will listen that roar more often.